Hello, this is Vlad and welcome to my third video in the Angular material tutorial series. This video we will talk about the building blocks of an Angular application. Typically, an Angular application is built using components, and those components are structured in different modules. What is a component and how it's built? If we go in our application, we will see that we already have one component created by the Angular CLI. It's called the app component, and it has three different files: a TypeScript file, an SCSS file, and an HTML file. I'm currently in the app.component.ts file. This is the TypeScript file, so every bit of functionality, every bit of code written for Angular is using TypeScript. If you do not know TypeScript, don't worry, it's pretty straightforward. That's why it was so highly adopted by the community. I will try to link a few useful tutorials in the description, but you can just go ahead and continue the series, because I'm sure you will just catch it as we go, because it's 90% JavaScript. It's basically JavaScript with strongly typed variables. It's a strongly typed JavaScript basically. Now, what is a component? It's composed of a template, which is our HTML file, a class with the metadata, which is our TypeScript file, it's this right here, and styles. This is optional, so we have app.component.scss. Let's go back to the class with metadata. So every Angular component is, let's say, the code part, which is the TypeScript file, and the HTML part. They are completely linked together, and the link is done by using this decorator right here, the metadata. The selector, this basically tells Angular how to identify our component. If we go in an HTML file, so in a separate component, and type this code right here, this bit of code, what Angular will try to do is it will look in its component, in its known components, identify using the selector, identify the component, and it will basically output the HTML instead of this tag. That's how Angular renders the components. The template URL, it's a URL, as it actually says, and it links to the HTML file. The style URLs, this is optional. You can add however many SCSS files you want. In our case, it's just app.component.scss. This is the most common pattern. So one HTML file, you are not allowed more, and just one style file. You will notice that we have a property here named title with the value tutorial. Now let's go in the app.component.html. We'll see that we have here this weird syntax, curly braces with the title written inside. If we go here, we see that we have a property named title in our class, and if we go to the browser, we will see that it says welcome tutorial here. If we go in the TypeScript file and change here welcome to my video, click save, browser will automatically refresh, and it says welcome to my video, because I have a little bit of a typo here. Also, let's delete some of the information we don't need, like these, the image as well. We're just left with the h1 tag, and you see that is automatically updated. So basically, the app component, which is our main component at the moment, the only one rendered, whatever change we did to the HTML file is reflected in the browser. Now, if we go to app.module.ts, we'll see that our app component is declared within the module. Now, what is a module? Angular is basically, a module is basically a TypeScript class with a decorator, same as the component, so it has metadata. However, instead of the add component, it uses the add-ng-module decorator. Angular modules basically help us organize the application into cohesive blocks of functionality. Every Angular application has at least one module, which is the app module. And as the application grows, you will create different modules to separate the functionality. For example, if we have an employee management feature in our application, we will create an employee management module in which we declare the components relevant to that bit of functionality. We will also create a shared module in which we define the components and functionality that will be reused in different feature modules. For example, if you want a fancy date picker which you use throughout every feature, you add the component to the declarations array of the shared module, which is imported in every feature module. You can see that in a module you can import you can import other modules, basically bringing in all the functionality of that module into the current module. It is important to note that if we use a component that is not integrated in a module, our application will not compile. For example, we know that app component is displayed here. So if we go to the app module and remove it, hit save, we will see absolutely no output here. However, if we go in the console, not here, in the console of the browser, we will see app component is not part of any ng module, or the module has not been imported into your module. What this says is that the application, our Angular application, has no idea what app component is. If we re-add it, then it refreshes and everything is okay. Thank you and see you in the next video.